The Niners did not disappoint me this weekend. All three of my fantasy teams, that's a different story. Anyways, guys, welcome back to another power ranking video. So we're doing this consistently. I'm actually proud of myself for not forgetting to, post the power rankings. Tomorrow will be the predictions. But like I said, Niners didn't disappoint me this weekend. Surprisingly, my fantasy teams did. I lost all 3 games. I am 0-4 in 2 leagues, and I am really debating on never playing fantasy again because it just, between fantasy, keeping up with my team, and now I'm into sports gambling. If anybody wants to sponsor me, Prize Picks, Better, Underdog, anybody? Just saying. I know I only got 8 subscribers, but we're open to whatever. But it's a lot to keep up with. And my fantasy teams have been booty cheeks.
It's over. We are screwed.
Anyways, let's just get into the power rankings before I get the press. Alright, let's officially kick off the list with the number 10 team, the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is back. They placed the Vikings, probably the best team in football right now. And they were getting their asses kicked. Like, it was to the point where I was like throwing the damn towel. Throw the towel! Throw the towel! Throw the damn towel! The Packers came alive. They made a comeback. And shout out to my buddy Johnny, who was going insane, probably watching the game. Gave me a text. I was at work. Like, comeback, crying emoji. And then after that, he proceeded to go off on Jordan Love. But nonetheless, the Packers are still a very legit team. And that the loss is not a bad loss because they lost to a really good team. And they got Jordan Love back, so maybe they should start rolling in some more wins and going up. But the NFC North is actually really good. Like, all the teams are 2-2 or undefeated. So, there we go. Packers at 10. Coming in at number 9, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who suffered their first loss to the Indianapolis Colts, who were led by Joe Flacco, who came off the bench for injured Anthony Richardson. And look, I think that was the best thing that could happen for the Colts, having Anthony Richardson have to sit out this game, because I can't help but feel like he would have found a way to lose this game. Pittsburgh, still a really good record, still first place in the North, of the AFC North. And you know what? Their defense is still really, really good. But I could see them starting to trickle down the rest of the season because their schedule's only going to get tougher and they're going to start playing the rest of their divisional opponents pretty soon. And I don't see them staying in the top 10 for long, but I got to acknowledge the record and acknowledge the Steelers. So, Steelers, you are at number 9, but don't get too comfortable. At number 7, a team that I was sleeping on all season. And I saw their fans on Twitter and everywhere like, don't sleep on us. The Washington Commanders, who are really trying to get their own name back. And, I'm all for it. Give them their own name back. Well, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the Florida Seminoles, the college team. And then you just give them their team back. Like, who cares? If the Native Americans want the name back, just give it to them.
Washington Redskins, go fuck yourself. Sure, we'd be happy to take your money. Yep, just go to our Kickstarter page. Okay, nice idiot. Fuck you. Bye-bye.
But anyways, we're not going to get into that. Jaden Daniels is probably the best rookie quarterback of this class. He looks a lot better than Caleb Williams, and it looks a lot more pro-ready. And you cannot tell me that Jaden Daniels has more weapons than Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams has a really good offense. He just needs to put it all together. But, the Bears did win this past weekend too, so, they're getting there. But as of right now, Jaden Daniels, he's the front runner for Rookie of the Year, aside from Malik Neighbors, but we'll see how that turns out. But the Washington Commanders, you guys are looking pretty good, and don't look now, but they may run away with this division. All right, coming in at number 7, we got the Houston Texans getting a much-needed bounce-back win after that ass-whooping they got from the Vikings. Vikings are really good this year. But nonetheless, the Texans did beat the Jaguars, a divisional opponent, so this does help out the rankings, which, by the way, Jacksonville's in last place are 0-4. Trevor Lawrence is a bust. We need to start talking about that, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. C.J. Stroud looking really good. Texas looking really good. Stephon Diggs scored. He took the ball in himself. He said, you're not going to throw me the ball? I'm going to run it in myself. He's going to be a selfish player by the end of the year. I guarantee it. But Texans, back on the winning track. Looking good. Putting them at number 7. Would have put them higher, but then I realized that Jaguars are pretty bad this year, and I feel like they should have ran away with that game. But nonetheless, here we are. And at number 6, we got my San Francisco 49ers pulverizing the Patriots. Now, one thing about the Niners, and we talk more about them because this is obviously my team, but they were looking really good. Brock Purdy's also looking phenomenal this year. He is actually second, I think, in passing yards in the NFL. He's leading in every major stat category, minus CMC, and he didn't have Debo last week or Kittle, and Ayuk kind of has been nowhere to be found. So this whole Avengers argument is really dying on its sword right now, and I'm loving it. But the Niners did defeat the Patriots on a much-needed bounce-back win after suffering back-to-back losses from the Vikings and the Rams. Vikings loss is understandable. The Rams was unforgivable. Niners defense need to step it up, and boy, they did. Federico Warner this past Sunday did a Madden-type interception where he jumped like probably 6 feet in the air, picked the ball off, ran it back for a pick six nonetheless, and then Bosa doing Bosa things, just disrupting the game and everything. He is not beating those allegations, by the way. If you know, you know. But Niners are back on track on the winning thing. We have the Arizona Cardinals coming up this week, so it should be a good test to see how it is. This Niner defense needs to hold up, and Brock Purdy in the offense needs to continue doing what they're doing. Number 5. I had them number 1 last week. We got the Buffalo Bills. Boy, was that a humbling check to them. I don't think this really affects the Bills long term. It does help. It did help the Baltimore Ravens get back on the winning track, and it did let the Bills know that they're human, that they're beatable. So there's that. But I still think Buffalo will be a very powerhouse team in the AFC. I mean, again, Josh Allen is still that quarterback. He didn't have a great game, but I just think the Ravens defense just did a really good game plan and managed to contain him and the rest of his weapons. But nonetheless, I got the Bills at 5, and we'll see how they do this upcoming week. Or another team with a big bounce back game this week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, baby. They thrashed the Eagles. And Baker Mayfield is just really good this year. He is actually, if it wasn't for Sam Darnold having the year he's having right now, I think Baker Mayfield would be the biggest, I would dare I say, comeback player of the year, even though he's not really coming back from anything. But, well, you know how the NFL is. Tampa Bay Bucks looked really good, and they just managed to handle the Eagles very handily. And I honestly believe they put Nick Sirianni in the hot seat after that loss because, boy, did they not look good out there. Jalen Hurts is looking like a very system quarterback. You tell me, Eagles fans, aside from the 2022 season when you guys went to the Super Bowl with him, what has he done? You guys have been ass cheeks since then. But whatever, I'm just a hating Niner fan. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Bucks, who I think are probably going to win that NFC South division, especially with the Saints coming back down to earth. And the Falcons just so far not living up to the hype. And Baker Mayfield just being Baker Mayfield, the college Baker Mayfield, may I add. But we got the Bucks at 4, and we'll see how they continue to do. At number 3, we got the defending Super Bowl champs who are still undefeated. We got the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, one thing about the Chiefs that I've been noticing is they have been playing very below average. Yes, they're undefeated, but every game they've won is by a touchdown. They've trailed. And now, not only do they not have Pacheco for a time being, not only do they not have Hollywood Brown anymore, they lost Rashid Rice, which, if we're being honest, kind of karma. I don't care what you guys say. I'm not wishing injury upon nobody, but he's kind of a piece of shit for what he did this whole offseason. But whatever. And the worst thing about it, his quarterback was the one who took him out. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception. Rashid Rice makes a great play, smacking that ball out of the defender's hand, and then he gets blown up in the knee by his own quarterback.
Chiefs who's straddling out of bounds. Did he touch the football? It's Morris.
Look, I'm not saying the Chiefs are cooked, because I'm never going to say the Chiefs are freaking cooked, because we said that last year, and they ended up fucking going back-to-back. And there's a very good chance they'll still win the Super Bowl this year, but I can see some very tough times coming from the Kansas City boys in these upcoming next few weeks. And at number 2, pains me to say, we got the Detroit Lions, who mopped the floor with the Seattle Seahawks last night in a very good game. One thing about it though is I put it in my number 2 because they fit perfectly there, but their defense is very suspect because they were letting like the Seahawks just score on them handily for a good amount of time until they ran away with the game in the fourth quarter. But they are looking good. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, probably the best backfield in the NFL right now. Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta is finally coming back into it. This offense is starting to click, and it should be very scary for the rest of the NFC, which my team happens to be in the NFC. Fun times. But there's another scarier team right now. In first place, Like Tom Grossi would say, if you know who he is, you know who he is. The purple incarnation of Satan. The Minnesota Vikings led by Sam Darnold. Undefeated Minnesota Vikings led by Sam Darnold. He is having a career renaissance, resurgence. And they're giving me vibes of the Detroit Lions from last year, which they could make a very deep run in the playoffs run if this run continues from the Vikings. There's some people who are expecting Sam Darnold and them to come back down to earth, kind of how the Vikings usually do. They kind of start off hot and fall apart at the end. I don't know. I've seen enough of the Vikings to feel very confidently that they're the team to beat right now in the NFC, and they are easily the best team in football right now. Look at the teams they beat. The 49ers, the Texans, the Packers. I can't even tell you who they beat in week 1 because it's irrelevant, but just those 3 teams alone, 3 teams that were considered Super Bowl contenders coming into the year, they beat them. They blew out the Texans, and they were blowing out the Packers for a good amount of time. Vikings are very good, and we should all be very afraid of the Sam Darnold-led Minnesota Vikings. But anyways, guys, that is it for my top 10 power ranking teams for this week. Football season is going by pretty quick, man. We're already considering a quarter of the way done. We might have to do a QB ranking for the first 4 weeks of the football season, which we might do. We might do. It sounds like fun. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get this edited, have it up today. Predictions will be out tomorrow. If I'm wearing the same thing, it's because I recorded the video today, so I will actually be on time for once. But that is it, guys. Please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I want to grow this community. And, yeah, let's see how next week goes with football.